game was one that had our eyes on it, David, because Duda chose Dubov, even though there were objectively lower rated players available, right? So this is a stylistic matchup, apparently, that Duda prefers. He does have an overall head-to-head lead of 5-1 in decisive games, which includes both online and OTB, for those wondering how we gathered those stats. And right now, Duda looks like he's out to a good start. Your thoughts on the position here?
Yeah, I'm slightly biased towards the white position, like you said. I think great start for Duda because he has more space. He's got the pawn center. That being said, this type of position tends to be quite straightforward for black. You just want to break out. You just want to play for tricks. And I'm assuming after queen takes d7, as you're highlighting, b4, for example, I'm going to try and do my best Daniil impression. b4, ab4 takes on a1 and takes on e4, and there's some stuff on the diagonal. But yeah, already there's tricks in the air.
Are we ready to analyze this early? Are you? I mean, it's early in the morning for me. I guess you're rocking, an afternoon. I don't know what. I was going to say an afternoon buzz at this point, but I don't know what it is over there. So let's
siesta.
Let's. Did you have a siesta today? Did you have a nap? Oh man, I'm jelly.
I mean, I'm in Europe, Danny. That's what we do. That's just what we do.
Yeah, right. I'm going to show the line because David just busted out some analysis. Being shy, pretending that he can't calculate just as fast as Danya. But after takes, shake and bake, you can take on e4. And the whole point is at the end of the line, choose your adventure if you're white. At some point, the bishop pins the knight to the rook, and that is a pinning problem. So those types of tactics, I think, highlight well what you said, David, about the position. Despite white's space advantage, okay, now we see a very forcing trade. That's kind of what black is going for. They're like, yeah, white has a space advantage, structurally better, but there are all kinds of tactics that favor the placement of black's pieces. The tension makes it a little hard for white to keep expanding.
Yeah, and I have first-hand experience of how dangerous Dubov can be when he's counterattacking. So if you let that black bishop out and into an outpost like d4 later, watch out. The white king might come under fire. So I love this last move, though, from Duda. He's carved out a nice outpost for a knight on c4. You can imagine a knight posting up and bring the rooks to the center, try to simply kind of power through. Battering ram, use the f and e pawns as you're highlighting. At least now white's plan is quite straightforward. So bishop takes c5, it's maybe not what I would have done, but I like it. I think it's got a clear plan behind it. That's important at rapid chess. And here we come. The bishop is unleashed. Danny, who are you picking here?
I like that you highlighted bishop takes c5. We were kind of talking generally about the position, so I quickly went by it. But yeah, that was a big decision, right? You part ways with the dark square bishop, really letting black potentially be in control of that future. And so I'll be honest, like, despite what the eval bar says, I like black in these types of positions because I often feel like white has one plan, I understand, and of course the space advantage is undeniable. If you can get that expansion like a Benoni structure, that would be a problem, right? If white can really expand f4 and e5. But I feel like there are just some holes and some fun things coming here. And in a practical game that's rapid, I don't know. I'm getting a feeling here. Now I'm looking at the clock. There's also a minute plus advantage. I'm getting a feeling that Dubov likes this type of position. So I'm gonna go with black here.
That's the thing. I mean, if I didn't see it was Dubov sitting across me, I would say white's got a beautiful position. Somehow you consolidate, somehow you advance your pawns, but it's Dubov and you can just see him on the camera. He's cooking something up. He's an evil mastermind. He's got a plan.
And maybe I'm, I'll say this. If I didn't not only see that it was Dubov, but if I didn't even see an eval bar and I was just looking at the imbalances, I think I tend to like these types of positions where there's all kinds of weird tricks and ways for my opponent to go wrong. Of course, objectively, Duda's a much stronger player than I am. And so figuring that out is why he makes the big bucks, so to speak. And so if he can deal with the threats, maybe it's just superficial. But when I see this stuff, my heart starts to flutter a little bit. I'm getting I got made on the brain over here. I'm getting a little scared.
Yeah, knight f4, given a question mark, I wonder whether this is because white has to just pluck up his courage and play g3 and just, for better or worse, kind of weaken some squares. Okay, there we go. He does try to kick the knight out. Dubov now does have to justify his last move. It feels like he might have jumped a bit early. It feels like there's no knockout for black. And if you have to start retreating, then you understand why white might be better. But critical moment now.
I agree. Okay, so maybe this is a little bit too frisky. As we joked yesterday, it's usually not a good sign if I like all the moves that they're playing. So maybe Duda, as you said, a little bit premature in terms of bringing the knight here. Is he going to have to give a check and back up? That could be awkward. Does the knight even just get trapped in some weird spots? It actually might even be a thing, because if you check and the king moves and you go here, maybe white just traps the knight. Even if you give a queen check, it may not matter. So, all right, looks like Dubov has some things to kind of justify here. Absolute crazy position.
Whoa. I mean, white's a rook down. That's all I can see. And there's a bishop on g1. Do you take that rook? Do you take either black rook? Do you take the bishop first? I mean, 30 seconds for Dubov. This is crazy, Danny.
This is like vintage Dubov, right? Classic Dubov here. He's like, he's probably losing, but is Jan Krzysztof going to find every move to defend when black's attack is absolutely crazy?
That's the thing. It's vintage Dubov, but it's also classic Duda. I mean, Duda, he handles these type of material imbalances so well, and maybe that's why he's got the better head-to-head in their individual clash, just because he's one of the few who can hang with Dubov in this type of position without getting scared or flustered. I would just take that bishop, rook takes g1, and game goes on. But these guys know better than me.
No, I think you're right. I think at this point, one of the things to do quick math on is that it's not just that this exchange isn't going anywhere, but I think white also has a bunch of pawns. So I agree with your instincts to just take the bishop, defend whatever tactics might be coming, and either I win the exchange or maybe I just march my pawns up the board supported by a couple of dancing unicorns, if you will. I don't know if you've ever seen unicorns dance, David. It is wild. Let me tell you about a long night I once had that is not PG. Anyway, but the point is, these nights are dangerous, and I agree with you. You know, you talked about how Duda has a style that might be hard for Dubov. It reminds me of a matchup that for any chess player, you think historically of like a Tal Korchnoi matchup, right? Where Mikhail Tal was just this insanely creative player, like Daniil Dubov. Everybody feared him. He was dangerous, and he came up with creative ideas. But Korchnoi, for whatever reason, just bleeping owned him, just never took any of the sacrifices seriously, was always able to parry threats. Of course, these two guys are early in their careers, only a few games, I think 8 total. But it is an interesting thing to point out that Duda just doesn't seem to care about all the pieces or the fireworks that Dubov throws at him.
Yeah, and Duda's last move, getting the queen over to g2, just even at the cost of time, even at the cost of a pawn or two, getting the queens off. I mean, that's really classy. That's what impresses me the most about Duda, just his ability to kind of switch the pace is always a bit chaotic, and then he slows things down. And look at the shake of the head there from Dubov on the camera. He knows he's in trouble, despite being up a bunch of material, because the black rooks aren't going anywhere. I assume just king takes pawn right now, but maybe he'll move his rook, and it's those unicorns, like you said, the e-pawn, d-pawn, they're running.
I think he's smart to kind of pause because, okay, he chose a different rook move. The computer isn't thrilled, but I think that, as you said, these pawns are just as much of the problem for Duda, not just moving and now losing the other rook. I assume that Duda will take it. No, here he goes. He wants more. He wants the whole thing, as they say. Give me everything.
Yeah, I guess those pieces aren't running away. Which one do you take now, though? The knight, the rook? They both look good to me.
And I'm sure the computer is spoiled for choice when an eval bar is that high. It's just like, let me take it. Okay, I thought this would happen. This is sort of your last practical chance to say, let me hold this. But even a move like rook g2, if you're... Okay, Duda's going to be more accurate than that, but this position should be over. The 2 knights, unicorns, as we said, a pass d-pawn. There really shouldn't be anything too hard. You back up. I think the knight comes here. You've got checks. Yeah.
So many forks in the air, Danny. Like you said, there's knight e6 check coming in. There's rook c7. There's going to be a whole onslaught. And to add to the mix, the deep one. Rook c7 now. Knight e6 check would have won on the spot. That would have been a nasty fork.
I was going to say, he missed that. Okay, the one thing we should say here, okay, suddenly time. All right, we were sitting here focused on the chess, forgetting that it is a game for a reason. 2 seconds. You never know, especially with internet, right? There are strange things that happen when it comes to lag and things. So this is okay. You know, a little scared.
Getting a heart attack every time I see the clock. It keeps ticking down to 0.
Okay,
he's still winning.
It was a foregone
until he isn't
on the board, but not so much on the clock.
Ooh. Okay. The one disappears, the unicorn is off the board. Extra knight, rook will go to h8. This one is over, pretty much. Should be.
Yeah, it should be. And that simplifies it enough, you would think, that that I'm no longer worried about crazy tactics if I'm Duda. What a move there,
Ooh.
pointing out that the knight is actually poisoned because of the skewer. That's high-level chess right there. Now watch out for rook h5. Rook h5.
Ooh.
Oh, it doesn't
H5,
work.
the king's...
The king is close enough, but... Okay, wait,
Ooh.
what am I freaking out for? Rook h5? It
Rook
doesn't
g8, rook
work?
g1, maybe?
Oh my gosh.
Just got to give up the white rook for the black pawn at any cost right now, and white's pawn should do the business. So
Okay, that's fair.
he's
That's fair.
still in control.
Still in
But
control.
now at least it's a race.
Pawns.
Now it's a race.
Yeah, and if rook a2, there's knight a5, cutting off the rook's protection. So this one is finally over. I think Dubov will throw in the towel. Oh, no, not yet. He makes one more move. What has he got? A trick? What's the trick?
No tricks.
Yeah,
Even
no
without
tricks.
the white knight now, it's winning. And
Yeah.
there we go.
Okay. Got a little stressed there. I need to check my meds, apparently. All right, let's go to the only game still going. It's Esipenko versus Bluebomb. Esipenko is on his way to converting.